Yes, and welcome back to the channel. It's me, Perchy. He's here. Big up to you all. Hope you're all doing really well. Big up to you in the if you guys are in the chat watching. I know it's just a complete random one, quick pop up. I had an hour free, so I thought let's go live for an hour. Hope you're all doing well. I don't need those on. I don't know why I've got those on because it messes up my hair. Sorry, a bit vain there of me. Look, let's talk. We had a game yesterday, right? We beat Liverpool at home. For me, game of the season potentially. I thought we were really good today. What did you guys think in the chat? If you're here, what did you guys think? I thought we were really good yesterday. I thought we nullified Liverpool to a point where, look, I'm not going to sit there and say we were the better team. I thought, well, no, actually, no, I lie. We were the better team. I think there wasn't a lot of quality. I don't think there was a lot of quality on show yesterday. Both teams, by the way. That's not just Tottenham. I mean, both teams. I thought Liverpool were way off it yesterday. For me, yeah, I just think it was a good game. Look, Bergvall got lucky. There's no question about it. Lucas Bergvall got very lucky. Shouldn't have been on the pitch. But by the way, what a finish by that kid. You could argue it balanced itself out. It balanced itself out because you could argue that Liverpool probably their first one wasn't a yellow card. The first one for me wasn't a yellow card at all. I mean, that first one just summed up why football in 2025 is dead, man. What is that? But you just get booked for anything. But you could argue it balances out. That shouldn't be how it's refereed, by the way. That's not how referees should do their job. So, yeah, look, we got away with one. You could argue it balances against the Jota one last season at Anfield where he went and scored the winner. But look, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. Look, we still got to go to Anfield. A lot of people are going crazy with it. Fine. I don't mind that. Go crazy with it. I have no problems with that. I'm not telling anybody how they should support this club, this manager, these players, the owners, whatever. I'm not telling anyone. I saw a lot yesterday. Now, be honest, I was going to do a video this morning. I didn't because all I saw last night was I thought, do you know what? Results like yesterday are ones where we all come together collectively as a fan base and go, that was a great result. Whatever happened, quality wasn't there, but you beat a big team in a semi-final halfway to potentially getting to a final of a cup. And all I saw was this tirade on people that have been questioned, like myself, is Ange out. I still am. One game of football doesn't change anything for me. One game of football doesn't make me go, oh, this manager's amazing. Because that's not how life works. Just because one thing good has happened doesn't nullify the bad stuff. For me, I've always said it. It's coming on a t-shirt. Consistency is coming on a t-shirt. Because what I don't get, I mean it, and I don't get it. When we win a big game, and look, by the way, Tottenham are well equipped to get a big win. Like yesterday, like the couple of results against Man City, like the Villa game, like the Man United game, for argument's sake. They're big wins in the confines of the conversation. But all I see from people is, where's the Ange out brigade? Like, it's like, really? That's it. Imagine every time we lose a game of football against teams we should be beating, and I went, where's all those Anginas? They're all gone. They're all quiet today. Like, I just find it madness. Like, what's happened to football? Why can't we all just collectively go, do you know what? Really good result. Now let's use that as a platform to move up. Go and beat Tamworth. Then get a result at the Emirates against Arsenal. Then you start getting that little sequence of results. But you know how this works. We beat Liverpool. We'll beat Tamworth. I'm not having a conversation that we'll lose to Tamworth. We're not. We're a better team than Tamworth. Like, I'm not sure what just happened there, but we're a better team. We're going to beat them. I'm going to put those to side. Don't disrespect them, but we will. The next game then is Arsenal. Now, I look at Arsenal and go, do you know what? Can we beat Arsenal on our day? Yeah. On our day, we can. Like, I just think it's madness. I don't get. Let me see who's in the chat first. Sorry, I'll just have a little bit of rant. Big up, Rinketic. Hope you're doing well. Angel, Mafuz. Hope you're doing well, mate. Big up to you. Always a keen watcher of the channel. SDFC, San Diego Football Club. Benny, this club is our Champions League. Yeah, look, I think we just need to get results in this competition and win it, right? Big up, Johnny. We play better this. I'll delve into that definitely. And big up my mate Nige. Nige, if you want to come on, mate, send me a message. I'll send you the link if you want, mate. Nige, if you want to come on, you are more than welcome as always, Nige. So let me know. Just pop me a message on WhatsApp and I'll send you the link. You're more than welcome. We can have a little chat if you want. It was just a bit of a pop-up, right? This sort of conversation, right? Thing is the Man City. The thing is we can beat teams. This is this conversation because do you know what I find incredible, right? The same people that not even last week, a few days ago were saying this is on Daniel Levy. Daniel Levy hasn't built a squad. This team is crap. Now we're saying amazing because what happens is and this is where I will never be a flip-flop, right? I'll never be a flip-flop because for me, I won't sit there and say this is on Daniel Levy because if it is on Daniel Levy, then we have to then sit there and say to Daniel Levy, well, you're the reason why he won yesterday. And I wouldn't say that. So all those people yesterday that were going, oh, well, this is on Ange, blah, blah, blah. So it can't be on Ange when we win. It can't be on Ange when we win, but then on Daniel Levy when we lose. That's the most biased notion that we can ever do, right? So biased. And for me, that's just silly and nonsensical, right? Oh, go on then. Hang on 1 second. Let me. We're gonna get the boy on. Go on then. He's been. 1 second. Rinketic, I'm gonna try and see if I can get maybe in a bit if you're free and a bit later. I'm only going for a little bit. I'm not going for too long, but I promise Eugene I'll do a show at this sort of time. So Eugene's on his way, I think. Thanks. I still working. Only watch, mate. You know the drill. You smash the likes. If you guys are watching, smash up those likes. Big up to you. Big up, Ryan. How are you doing, my friend? How are you enjoying your new manager, by the way? Because Vitor Pereira seems to have just got it right, hasn't he? I think the thing is in Wolves, I'm just divert to Wolves, Ryan. I'd like to get your thoughts on Wolves. Like for me, Vitor Pereira, what he's gone and done, he hasn't had to reinvent the wheel at Wolves because Wolves, for me, should never have been where they are. I think they're a good squad that just needed a bit of direction. And all he's done is just gone, do you know what? Let's get it to Cunha. Get it to Cunha and we'll win it. And fair play, you guys. I think he's signed a new deal, right? And I think they're a very, very good side. West Ham, West Ham, another one. Just seen the chat. West Ham are another one that you go, for me, should never have been where they are. They had a really, really good window. I think Graham Potter's a good appointment. I think he will steady the ship there. I think people don't give Graham Potter enough credit. I think it's a good appointment for me personally. But anyway, enough about West Ham, enough about Wolves. Sorry. But we'll look, for me, I just looked at yesterday and I went, why can't we as a fan base for once just go, do you know what? Good result. I'm not saying about going crazy. Like, it's like everyone wants to point score nowadays. And it's not just YouTube, it's just everyone. It's become so divisive. When Ange wins the game, well, are you Ange in? Well, hang on a minute. We've just won we won a half time in this. It's like saying someone in a game when you're 1-0 up at half time going, well, are you going to back the manager now? We're at half time, we're 1-0 up. No. Win the whole thing. For me, I've always said this. This club should be winning trophies. So if in good faith, I can't sit there and say that I want the manager gone if he wins me a trophy, right? Like if he wins us, if Ange Postecoglou wins Tottenham a trophy, in good faith, I can't sit there and go, he's got to go. For me, the manager has to do. But the thing is, it's all well and good, right? It's all well and good to have that conversation. Got to do it. 2 games left. Big up, my man. Eugene is here. Oh, hang on.
Headphones on. Going, bro?
How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm buzzing. I'm doing well. Just woke up recently.
Oh, he's woken up. He's been begging to go.
Had to come on, say hi.
He's been begging to come on for a while, but I don't really stream it this time. It's only because my partner, she's finishing work soon, and I kind of just sat there when I've done everything I need to do. Should I just go live? Fuck it, let's go live. Big up, man. Look, we're talking about yesterday, and like for me, mate, I just sit back and I look at the way. I just look at yesterday, and for me, really, really good result yesterday. I look at it and go, collectively as a fan base, we should be united to go, do you know what? I like what I saw yesterday. But all I saw was pockets of people just going, I just click onto channels. I don't sit and just comment in, and I just sometimes just go in and just hear what people are saying. I don't sit for ages because I haven't got the time for it. But I go into some and it's, where is all the Ange outers? Where are they now? It's like, hang on a minute. Why can't, just because I think that the right thing for this club is to get a new manager, doesn't mean that I should not be allowed to celebrate a result like yesterday. I just find that mentality really weird. What do you think, man?
Yeah, but you know how that is. People have strong opinions. Those opinions become their identity. It's like politics. You support a party.
Yeah.
That's what you do. So some of it is banter. Again, you and I would disagree on a lot of things.
Me and you have a chat, but like you wouldn't come to me and go, Perch, you can't celebrate that because you don't want the manager in. Do you know, I find it nonsensical.
That's silly. But social media, people want to be right. People have strong opinions, and that's just the way it is. It's unfortunately it's toxic.
Yeah.
But you know, but you shouldn't, you know better. Like you have other folks who have strong opinions. That comes with the territory, unfortunately.
But we have strong opinions. But the thing is the one thing that I will always stand by. Yes, I've got a strong opinion, but that doesn't mean I don't want Tottenham to win a trophy. Like, I don't sit there and go, I don't get gleeful when Tottenham lose. Like, my point would be is, imagine if it was the other way around, right? Look, we're not going to, before anyone clips this, I have to make sure we're not going to lose to Tamworth. But imagine we lose to Tamworth, and I go, well, there you go. Where are all the Anginas? He's awful, blah, 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 blah. Why are you lot, blah, 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 not saying anything? It's mental, right? Like, I don't sit there gleefully watching us lose and go, well, there you go. That's another loss. I can celebrate that. For me, that's not how it works. For me, I want Tottenham to be the best. I saw yesterday green shoots. You know, I love my green shoots analogy. I saw parts in that where I went, I like that. Now, if we continue doing things like that, because I think actually yesterday was one of the better games that we've played, and we didn't play the quote unquote Ange ball for me. Like when you hear Ange ball, that terminology, I always, for me, I don't listen to all that, but you know what I mean. Yeah. I thought yesterday what we did is we looked organised. Again, same when we played Man City, we looked organised. When we played Aston Villa, we looked organised. Like, I looked at us yesterday and I thought Spence had a great game. I thought he was one of our best players yesterday. I thought even when I've been very critical of Archie Gray, I thought yesterday composed. Dragoshin gets a lot of stick. I thought he had a good game. I looked at Basuma. I actually had to watch it back again. I actually, in my reaction video, I don't think I gave him as much credit as he probably deserved. I looked it back and go, wow, he had a good game here. But I thought a lot of players had really good games. I was really impressed with the new goalkeeper, by the way. You know me, I have to wait until I see it to start hearing all this about his generational. I saw a goalkeeper that went, now that's a goalkeeper that is challenging Vicario, not just a Forster that's in it for the sake of it. Like, look, what did you think it was, man?
I mean, I was really impressed with the young, with the kids. As you said, Spence was man of the match for me. he was great. I have no idea why Conte and Ange didn't rate him or don't rate him.
Yeah.
He was great. Again, I feel like he should be a starter over Udogie on the left-hand side, even though he's not a left back. But I feel more comfortable with Spence on the left than with Udogie at this point. I think it's his position to lose.
I was having this conversation about the Spence Udogie thing in another group chat with some friends of mine. And I was actually saying, well, some were sort of pro Udogie, pro Spence. I said, actually, do you know what? The answer is both.
Both.
You utilize them. You utilize both. I think Spence is better defensively. Udogie's better more in the attacking. Yep. So depending on who you play, if you're playing, like, for example, you're playing against a Mo Salah yesterday, you play the better defensive player. But if you're playing in a team where you should be dominating out wide, you play Udogie because he's better in the final third. So sometimes, actually, when I hear this about, oh, this player should start over the other one, I kind of look at, well, depends on the situation, right?
Yep, for sure. But like, I'm just going by kind of my feeling when I watch the game. When Spence is on the ball, when he's out there, I don't feel as nervous as I do when Udogie's out there. So it's just a personal feeling when I watch the game. But I agree with you, spot on. We need both. We need them to push each other.
Yeah, you go, man.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think what we saw yesterday was a good example of utilizing the squad that we have. I don't think we've got a terrible squad. I hear this all the time with, oh, well, we've got a crap squad. No, I don't think we do. I think we've got a good squad. I think the problem, what we need to start getting away from is this notion of when players are back, that's our strong 11. For me, I think players like Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, Dragishin to an extent, Kinsky, the goalkeeper, even though he's played one game, Jed Spence, are knocking on the door going, hang on a minute, if these boys turn back up, should I be losing my... Have I justifiably... Look, it's easy to say. We're talking about one game of football, right? But we're talking about it in the context of you go and beat Tamworth, you then go and get a result against the Arsenal, and you start going, okay, let's get a few wins on the run. Let's go undefeated between now until the second leg of the semi-final. And you go, I'm not saying that's going to happen. You could lose one in the middle of it all, but my point is go on a run of games now. Start getting a run of games together, and you go, do you know what? I fancy us at Anfield. Get us to a final, and then you have a conversation about can you deliver in the final. Look, for me, one step at a time. The problem is we're like this. We're a roller coaster. Let's have it a nice steady run now. Couple of wins, couple of draws in there. Get results where you need it. For me, tactically, the manager adjusted. So whether or not I want the manager or not, credit where credit's due. Got it spot on tactically yesterday. Now do the same. Don't look at what we've got and make us better. That's all I think of.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen this season. Like, we do well against bigger teams who play wide open. Against low block, look, we're going to play a low block team. We're going to have the same issues. Our wingers can cross. Man, watching Sonny play, like, it pains me.
Hang on, hang on one second. Is that breaking news, by the way, Ryan? Has Everton sacked Daichi?
I believe so, yes. At least I saw it in the group chat somewhere. So,
okay. If that's the case, wow. Okay, carry on. I'll have a look at it quickly. Yeah, carry on speaking.
So new manager bounds for Everton against us. If that's
Everton, West Ham. There's a few managers now that are going to start having a bounce. I mean, have they explained who they've appointed?
I did not see a name.
They have. I've just seen it. Breaking news. Right. Okay.
I know Potter to West Ham, but I don't know about...
This is incredible. Leighton Baines and Seamus Coleman will take charge. That is Mr. Everton fullbacks.
That's Ryan Mason. That's like Ryan Mason for us.
Well, Seamus Coleman is still a squad player, so he's like
is he?
Yeah, he's still in the team, isn't he?
Oh, so he's like Ben Davis. He's been there for 20 years.
Yeah. Ben Davis is going to start becoming our in the next couple of years. He'll be our next. When we sack the next manager, it'll be Ben Davis is going to be player coach now.
Oh, that's interesting. That's crazy. But yeah, man, like as I was saying, like watching Son play pains me. He's offering us nothing. And I thought before, you know what, he's tired, his legs are gone, he needs a rest. But now he just, not only his pace is gone, he just looks lost. And Johnson on the other side, doesn't do enough. So against low blocks, we can cross the ball. There's nobody to unlock, the defense. Madison isn't consistent. So funny enough, when we play against big teams, I have more faith that we get a result than versus smaller teams. So that's going to be our issue.
Yeah, I think the thing. I think you've hit a good point there. I think sometimes I don't want us to sit like that in every game, but it's about, as I always say, who are you playing? If we're playing the Arsenal, I want us to play like we did yesterday. Make them work to get a result against us. And what we're good at, counter-attacking.
Yep.
Counter-attacking, man. And I think that's the key bit for me. We've got a real. I think we're strong on the counter. I think the counter-attack promotes what we've got. I think what it does allow, it allows players like Timo Werner, whether I like him or not, to get into games. It allows Kulusevski, who I think on the transition is very good. So you've got, and then Solanke, who is a good target man, so to speak. You can go long to him if you need to, right?
Johnson too, of course.
Brennan Johnson.
That's his whole game.
And I think that Brennan Johnson's a good example, right? Where I don't think technically a very, very good football player.
Yeah.
But if you can get him ghosting into the box, he'll get you goals, right? That's the one thing I'll never criticize Johnson on his goal scoring because he's a good goal scorer. For me, technically as a football player, not a very good football player. That's for me the difference, right?
And his work rate isn't
works hard, doesn't he? Yeah.
But look, even more than tactics, and I agree with you, Ange did change it up, which was good to see. For me personally, and we had these conversations before about kind of how or where I want to see the club in 5 years. I want to see the plan. I want to see us compete. Seeing Bergvall, Archie Gray, and Kinsky play, that gave me a bit of hope for the club. Again, I'm not saying they're going to be amazing, but with Bergvall, for example, when I see other midfielders sometimes, like Bissouma or Madison, I see them hide from the ball at times. Bergvall always wants the ball. Whether he makes a mistake or not, he takes the ball, he's available, he pushes. He did great. Archie Gray, man, he's coming of age. I feel like that one run that he made, he beat the press and pushed the ball. That was awesome. Yeah. I think he's going to be a good player for us. Kinsky has potential. So I'm excited to see these kids play. Spence as well. I'm tired of seeing, Werner, even Son, Johnson, all the players who've been up and down. They drain the life out of me.
I just think, oh look, he's coming early. He's coming hard. He must have wolfed down his dinner. The flower powers turned up. Did you wolf down your dinner? You said, "Oh, God, give me 45 minutes, mate."
It was ready on the table when I got in. So
look, mate, he's had the dinner. Oh, mate, he's loving life. Comes in from work. Spurs have won the night before. Dinner's ready. Now gets to talk to me lovely and people. My mate Eugene. Mate,
hey, man, James, what's going on? First time you and I are together.
Nice, man. How you doing?
Good. I'm buzzing.
Mate, James, look, we were just talking about the game, and I kind of started on the sort of context of, firstly, like, why is a fan base no one's allowed to enjoy a result like yesterday without certain cores of people basically going, well, you want Anjac, so you can't celebrate. Like, that's, for me, the most nonsensical thing ever. Like, that's where it will stem from. But I kind of pivoted it to the actual game and stuff. And I thought, do you know what? Yesterday, as I'll always say, you know me, James, I've known you well enough. Like, you know me. I'll always give credit where credit is due. Yesterday, I thought the manager got it spot on tactically to an extent. I thought Liverpool, whilst also accepting the fact that I thought Liverpool were, for the quality that they are, were awful yesterday. I thought you looked at Liverpool and went, for me, that was worried. Look, I see what it's like. Eugene's picked up. We're going to talk. I want to talk about the goal with Bergvall first of all. For me, we got a bit lucky. I don't think he deserved to be on the pitch. He should have been sent off. I agree, though, the fact that the first yellow card wasn't anywhere near a booking, but that's not how you should be refereeing. If that's how the referees refereed it, that's poor on him. Am I complaining? No, because to be fair, Lucas Bergwijn is one of the few players, and James, I'll get your opinion on it, that it's starting to make me get a bit convinced by him. The green shoot analogy. I'm seeing green shoots with him and going, this kid looks a top player. If you can get him there, if you can get this kid, he could be a top player for you. I like his energy. I like his enthusiasm. And by the way, the goal he took, fair play to him. Really good goal.
Yeah, so for me, I think we said before, this is why I don't give Ange as much credit as probably everybody else does when it comes to injuries. Because for me, he's not as bad as people make out. And the people that have stepped in for the so-called injured players have probably been our best players. So it's all good saying, oh yeah, but look at the injuries. Well, the guys that actually stepped in have been our best players. It's not the not the players that have stepped in that's the problem. It's the players that have been there continuously, in my opinion.
Mate, I agree.
But with Bergwijn, I said the same kind of thing with Archie Gray, to be honest, because Archie Gray, for me, I don't think he's a centre-back at all, and he's not natural. You can see he's not natural yet. But what he is natural is, can I beat my first man and play a class? And even though that's getting us into trouble now, I do believe that if we could get like him, Bergwijn, or him, somebody else and Bergwijn in the midfield together, I think we could seriously have potential on our hands. I don't want to go overboard, but potential.
Mate, Archie Gray, for me, one of those that, again, when everyone was telling me he was generational and all this lot, and I was like, let me just see this kid play. For me, the problem is we never saw enough of him to go, okay, now he's had a run of games to go, do you know what? I like what I'm seeing. You're right. I don't think he's a centre-half. I think for me, you want to play him in front of the back four and just allow him to do that job. I think you will have a nucleus. I always say the nucleus of a good team. If you can get him in the six, you can build around, use him as your pivot in the middle and go, okay, we can build around that. Like, yeah, look, mate, I agree. I think you're right about, by the way, one thing I will say, you're right about some of these squad players that have come in and everyone's been bemoaning them. We haven't got a big, I think some of them have been better. My biggest concern is when the likes of Van der Ven, Romero, Vicario, Richarlison, Odebeers, all this start coming back into it. Are we just going to lose the likes of Archie Gray, who for me, I think for the last few games has been relatively decent for us? Where do we go from there, guys?
Yeah, I personally still don't think Ange has given him a fair crack at the whip, because I think playing him left back, playing him centre back, no matter what you say, people are going to criticise him because he's going to be making mistakes. One, he's 18, so he's meant to make mistakes. Two, he's never played in midfield, which is, for me, from what I have seen, I would like to see him in midfield. I think him and Bergwijn could be perfect in a double pivot.
No. Agree. And honestly,
James,
right out of here.
James, what do you think about Son?
Mate. Right, so I went on to Stell's show beginning of the season. I got death threats. I'm going to write you bad comments on your business. I got everything. And even as they said that, I thought, you know what, that's going to come about bite me in the arse at some point now. I've called out Son because he does have these games where he just goes on fire. But that was at the beginning of the season. I've still heard nothing from anybody. So you can't be that good 20 games in. I saw more from Timo yesterday than I did Son.
What's that?
I saw more from Timo yesterday than I did Son.
I'll be honest, yesterday I thought Heung-min Son for me was, and I'm going to say it, the worst player on the pitch yesterday. And it's worrying because it's becoming more and more apparent that for me, like I think, as I said, the Son, some people rejoicing Son's extension on his contract. Like, by the way, when it came out and there's so many people going, why would I knew we were going to do it anyway. I knew it was, there were talks about us doing it 6 months ago. Right. So it was always going to happen. For me, I just think I always stand by the whole PR of this club, and the PR of this football club is absolutely pinpoint. Leak some news that Barcelona are interested in signing Son on a contract and then extend it. Like it, whilst announcing a patisserie company or whatever they called, Korean patisserie company in the midst of Squid Game and stuff. Like it just all felt a bit. It all just felt a little bit, it's all a bit PR-y for me. But look, I knew Son was going to, whatever happens, Son for me, people were saying yesterday in my chat yesterday, were saying, oh, do people realise Son's being exploited now? No, he's not. He's getting very, very financially paid off for a lot of all these deals that are happening. You don't think Son is not involved in getting financial benefit from the likes of this Paris Baguette company and getting Squid Game over at the stadium? You don't think Son's not getting financially he's not financially benefiting from it all? Of course he's like, but for me, the concern is that I don't care about all that, right? And James, you're probably in the same way. Eugene, you are as well. But in the sense of, I don't care about the finance stuff of that. I want to see, is Son good enough to play? And my worry is he should be dropped. But is there a reason why he gets starts every week? Yes, I know he's captain, but it's a concern, right?
It's a concern. I'm hoping next year we're going to give him KDB treatment. Just bring him off the bench for the last 30 minutes. I think he can still make an impact, but he's definitely not the caliber of starter that we need.
I think so as well.
If both of them are spot players, if both him and Johnson can come off the bench, I mean, we'll be in decent shape.
Yeah.
The problem is, I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
I get it, James. Like, for me, as you know my feelings on it. Son for me is become, unfortunately, a marketing player. He's just marketed now at this club, and that is the only reason why he's here. As I said, as I always say, right? I've always said is football should be a meritocracy. It's not really now, is it? It's, we've got you here because you make us a load of money, and it's a concern, right? Because it feels like at times we're playing with 10 men sometimes, not in a disrespectful way. By the way, I love Son at this football club. I don't want people thinking that I'm hating on him. Son, for me, has just got to a stage of his career where he hasn't got the legs either. And the difference is what Son hasn't done, which other players have been very good at, is adapting and finding a new role at the club. You know, like the Harry Kane. When Harry Kane, you saw that slight decline in his pace, because he never really had a lot of pace, but he had a little decline, and you went, what's he going to do? Do you know what he's going to do? He'll drop in deeper, distribute. And that's what, and Kane extended a lot for him. And Son, for me, sticking him out wide doesn't benefit him at all.
So for me, obviously there's a few things there. One, I don't think Son is good enough anymore. And I'm going to say, I think he's lost a yard of pace, but I don't mean pace as in let's have a 100-meter sprint. If we're talking 100-meter sprint, he's still got it. I think mentally he's lost a yard of pace. So he receives the ball, takes a touch, and then he thinks, should I beat my man now? Whereas 2 years ago, Son gets that ball, goes, right, I'm beating my man now.
Yeah.
So I think this is where people go, look how fast he is. He's just run the whole length of the pitch. I'm not talking about that. I'm not stupid. I can see he's still fast, but it's that natural ability to go, now I'm going to take you 1-for-1. But what if you actually watch him? I watched him again yesterday. He goes, right, I'm going to attempt it. And then he half attempts it, stops, cuts back, loses the ball. And you think, I would have rather if you lost the ball by just kicking it forward and saying, well, I tried beating my man and I didn't. I would think there's certain things like that. And I know people are saying he's an inside forward. He's a striker. Yeah. For me, I disagree, because for me personally, I know this is going to sound probably crazy, but I would actually rather have Brennan Johnson up top with Solanke than I would Son and Solanke, because Son, I don't think he's got the foot in the brain. You spoke about Harry Kane, but Harry Kane was always 3 yards ahead of everybody else. So he could afford to use
in his head. He was knowing the pass before that. Mentally, Kane was one of the best mental strikers, where he would get a ball and you knew where that ball, like he knew where he was playing it, and it was. I get your point on that.
And as for Son, because I know people think, oh, you hate Son, you've always hated Son. I'll put Son in the top 3 best wingers I've ever seen at Spurs.
Oh yeah.
But behind Gareth Bale, who for me is number 2, and number 1 is David Ginola. So it's not like he's third on, oh, he's rubbish, he's third. You're talking of 3 of the greatest players I've ever seen live. So it's not like I hate Son. 3 years ago, Son and Kane was just a joke. It was a joke. But us as fans need to say, you know what? You were so good. Now it's time for you to pass the crown down, and let's you can stay here if you want, but we need the new thing. We can't just keep relying on he was so good.
Like for me, and Eugene, I'll bring you into it, man. For me at the moment, what I wanted us to do as a football club, and this is not me kicking Son out of the door, but hear me out, is you announced in January, we can confirm Son will be leaving the club at the end of the season. And then what we will do is we'll be making it a party, so to speak, but a farewell for a player that has done so much at this football club. You give him that walk, what do they call it? You know, when the players do the clapping when his final game, and you make it all about him on the final game. Like, a bit like a testimonial, but like guard of honor. That's what I was thinking, guard of honor. And you go, do you know what? We have seen a real talent at this football club who, whatever we think, goes down in the history books of this football club, whether or not he's won stuff or not won stuff. And in a weird way, you could garner a little bit of motivation to go, do you know what? If this is Son's last season, we're going to win him the Carabao Cup this season. For example, Son can lift a Carabao Cup for us this season and tick it off. Because for me, I'm not one of these. People think I'm like, oh, I'm so like emotionless when it comes to football. I'm really not. Like Eugene, as I said, I'll bring you into it. Like, but what do you think is the right pathway? Is Son going to be here for now another 18 more months, and then he's going to go, or is he going to stay longer?
In the perfect world, I agree, Perchy. Just say, hey, it's his last year. You know, give him a good send off. Him and Ben Davies too. They can share a testimonial or whatever they do. You know.
Yeah.
But the way, you know, if we look at the reality, you know, it's not going to happen. So what I would do, what's realistic for next season, is just say, hey, Sonny, you're going to be a squad player. You can still be a captain. You can be the ambassador. You know, we're going to give you a lifetime deal. Just do whatever you want as long as you're not a starter. And if he agrees to it, he would be a good squad player for maybe another year or two. Like I said, like Pep does to KDB. You just bring him off the bench for 20 minutes. But just one thing with Son, I agree with James. His raw pace is still there. But what he could always do was finish. But this season, his finish has been off. Maybe it's psychological. He's putting too much, you know, he's thinking too much. But if Son can take his man on, he can cross and can finish. Like, what are we doing here? So then
I completely get that. Like, but I don't want to sort of make all of this about Son. For me, I want to talk about one player at the moment. There's a few I want to talk about. We'll talk about one more here. James, how impressed were you with the new lad? And I need to get the whole name right because I've got to learn it. Antolin Kinsky, not Kinky like Michael Dawson said. That was wild. He's a 21-year-old kid, mate. Think about it. Absolute weirdo. I'm just playing about it. I love Michael Dawson. What a player. No, but for me, credit to this kid, by the way. And I will say this. He joined on Sunday, got his work permit either the day before or of the day of the game, dropped straight in. By the way, I was one of those where people go, nah, Austin's got to play. For me, I went, no. You paid 12 million quid for this kid. 12 million quid, he starts. If he's the player that you have put money involved in, he's got to start. Drop him in the deep end. I want to see him. Credit to Ange for starting him. And for me, he was my man of the match. There was others that I thought probably there, but he was my man of the match because I watched a 21-year-old. By the way, his kicking, his distribution was something else. Like that was something else. And I hope it's not just a flash in the pan. But are we seeing a goalkeeper now that is coming in not to just be a number two, but a goalkeeper to challenge with Vicario? Because for me, if he keeps doing this whilst Vicario's out, it'd be very hard for Vicario to say, well, have a right to go, well, I should be starting, right?
So, for me, a lot of people was complaining, going, oh, but we've got Austin, we've got Foster, we've got blah, 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 we've got... And I didn't get it. I really didn't get it. For me, before I move on to this keeper, Austin, I saw him in pre-season. Mate, the guy fumbled everything. The ball got fired into. There was one point, a cross coming. He caught the cross, dropped the cross, and we conceded. So, all right, he had one good game, but we need to look at the bigger picture here. We can't judge people on one game.
Of course.
And that lad coming yesterday, to be honest, I love Vicario, but I think his footballing ability just calmed the back line. I think it's the first time, and bearing in mind, I'm saying first time in a year, that the back two, regardless of who it was calm.
Yeah,
he wasn't screaming or shouting. He wasn't like, you need to, but he was just talking. He's just calm. And I thought, you know what? Fair play. Like, you're just relaxed. And the way that he was attempting the long ball as well as the short ball.
Oh, but the ball for the goal, by the way, did you see the ball for the goal? He plays it when he plays it into Solanke. I went, nah, fair play. Everyone talked about how good Solanke was, and he was brilliant for that goal. But not if you take it back, you watch him. He's played a 50-yard diagonal ball into Solanke, and you're going, hang on a minute, where have you? Fair play, and like you know me, I've always said sometimes you've got to go long. I think I get really frustrated when you see it not working, playing out of the back, and we lose possession so much. He's gone long into Solanke. Solanke's held it up. It felt like it was back in the 2000s watching football again. It was go long to a big boy and get all the players around him, and it worked. But I thought Kinsky had a really, really good game.
I don't think, obviously, to not knock him down a little bit, because that's not fair, but he did nothing wrong. I think that's the best way to put it. He did nothing wrong. But to say, like, I mean, everything related with playing him from the back, I thought he was fantastic. I thought the passing ability was fantastic. He made one good save, but I think we need to come under seed a little bit and actually be peppered a little bit and see how he reacts to that before sort of moving forward. Because I mean, Vicario, he may not be as good with his feet, but I could put my life on it that most one-on-ones, most shots from outside the area, he's kind of going to get to, and that's where I'd like to see how this guy gets on. And if he's not the greatest at it, what a prime example to learn off of is in Vicario.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I agree. And you know what? Like, sometimes you look at the players and you're like, this player has it. I don't know if he's going to be good or not, but when I watch him play, I can just something tell me he's got a talent. I don't know if it's going to work out, but as James said, I was comfortable for the first time in a long time when he played the ball out of the back. I wasn't nervous. I was comfortable.
But Eugene, I agree. I think it was, as I said, you're right. I think I watched us play with this keeper and I went, you know what? Like it. As I said, you're right. We don't know how well it is. Is it a flash in the pan? I'm not one of those, you know me, I'm not one of those that will blow smoke up any player's arse until they've actually shown me on a consistent level where you're a top player. Like, for example, I use Bergvall as an example. Bergvall, one of those. I've not sat there and gone, he's generational, he's amazing, he's incredible. Yesterday, I saw a player went, do you know what? You look a good player. A good player, not a great player, not a scintillating, scary player like I've seen some YouTubers put out. I was like, come on. These kids but what this needs to happen, doesn't it show you, though, you play some of these lads consistently, you're going to get better performances. And that's what's happening a little bit with the likes of Bergvall, Gray. We're seeing a lot more from Gray. Kinsky looked good on his debut. Spence is starting to show form. And in certain aspects, you've got to look at it and go, this manager at the first half of the season, these lads didn't get a look in. Kinsky doesn't count because we've only just signed him, but these lads didn't get a look in, right? And isn't that a concern that has this woken up the manager to go, hang on, I need to use my squad, because that's why injuries occur, because he wasn't using squad players, right? And I know we have this whole thing, Eugene, I know you tried to banter me yesterday. Didn't work, did it? You tried it, my mate. I got you. But
I always do. I don't even know what I said.
You chuck the fishing rod out, but normally you're whipping up a boot from the river. But for me, I will blame the Ben. By the way, first of all, we're not talking about the Bentancur injury. For me, that situation was wild, and that when I saw a lot of people, and I know we don't have to worry about what we said in the group chat. That stays there. That's the whole point of it behind the scenes. But when I see people going, oh, well, that must be on Ange then. I went, well, hang on. That we don't know how this guy is, by the way. I was freaking out. Only because I've seen, I think, James, you'll probably, I don't know, Eugene, if you watched Spurs at the time, right, and stuff like that, but that whole Bendengore thing gave me Mwamba flashbacks.
Yeah, I was about to say the same
and
thing.
I wasn't at the game. I wasn't at the game with the Mwamba. I didn't get to, but I saw it on TV, and for me, it really, really like worried me because I was like, whoa, this, and the longer and longer he was down on the pitch, not moving, I was like, fuck, please don't be that this. And look, touch wood, all things seem okay. He's posted a picture up, and the club have put it out that he's much better, and he's thanked the fans and thanked the players for the win and all that lot. But talking about injuries, I had to put that in there because I didn't want people to sort of put that in what I'm talking about, because that is a complete and utter freak accident. For me, I looked yesterday and I said, this is why you utilise your squad. And when I say that, I pivot to Tamworth. We played Tamworth on Sunday. For me, this is an opportunity to rest some of these lads now that have played a lot of football. I want to see the likes of an Alfie Dorrington getting minutes. Maybe you could put Brandon Austin, or give this new goalkeeper another game under his belt at the club. Guys, what do you think? How do you think we need to approach the Tamworth game? Because where I don't think we're losing, I think we should be putting out any 11 that we put out should be beating a non-league side. We're a Premier League football club. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to see any, as I said, any 11 that we put out should be beating them, right?
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, talking like, because obviously you started on the injuries and then moved forward. So with the injuries, this is what I said to you. I don't think Ange has that. Oh, but look at all the injuries. We're in a really bad position because the people that have stepped in have been our better players.
Yeah,
so it's all well and good, but the people that have stepped in have been our better players. The fact that Udogie got injured, I don't want to say this is going to come across wrong, but it's like, well, serves you right, Ange. Spence was playing and he was playing well, and you dropped him for Udogie, so that's your fault. Van der Ven has had the same injury continuously, but we'll say, okay, fair enough, Van der Ven, that's fine. Romero come back the day of the injury started and then got injured again. That's on him. Porro has played the most minutes out of everybody in the season when you have got Archie Gray and Spencer could play there. So there's no excuse there either. So for me, I don't give him that, oh, poor Ange, all these injuries. Well, use your squad better because they're doing okay now. Yeah, we're losing, but look how many are out at once. Whereas it wouldn't have been like that. It would have been one here, one there, one here. And as for Tamworth, to be honest, I think probably Timo Werner, maybe not Timo Werner, but Mikey Moore should be playing. I think, what's the young striker? I forgot his name. Lancashire should be starting. If the Korean lad, if he doesn't start, I would like to see the last 15, 20 minutes at least, because I think against a team like that, it should be over. I'd like to see Bergvall and Gray in the middle. Maybe Madison back, or give Madison some time, because I know a lot of people are saying, oh, he's played a lot of minutes. Actually, hasn't. He's always been the scapegoat to get subbed off at 60 minutes. So him, and like you said, maybe like a Dorrington, maybe an Austin. But personally, I'd keep the keeper from yesterday, get him in a rhythm of things.
I agree.
Agreed.
So, I mean, Tamworth, we should be. If we don't beat Tamworth, then Andrew's got to go immediately. I expect him to resign there and then and leave. But
as I said, there's just no excuse to not beating Tamworth. You could be the most loyal Ange follower, the most loyal Ange follower. There is nobody that can sit there and say any 11. You could pick 11 academy players to play. Should be beating a non-league side. Like, and I'm not even talking about a good non-league side. This is a team down the bottom of non-league, right? So, like that, this is the sort of team that Leyton Orient should be comfortably beating, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
great.
we're a Premier League side. So that I will. By the way, I don't think we are. I don't think we're going to lose. I think we will. The one thing I always say, though, I would put the bet on both teams to score. That's the one that's coming on. I'm going to say Spurs to win, both teams to score. But do you not agree, Eugene? Do you agree? I know your position, but do you not think that like there is no excuses for us not to beat Tamworth with whatever 11 we put on?
Of course, I agree 100%. I just don't want to see us having to put on Solanke and Son in the like 75th minute when it's 1-1. Like I don't want to see that. So just play all kids, as James said. That's the exact lineup I would go with as well, and we should have enough to beat them, no doubt.
Yeah, and as you say, like guys, I think that is the as you say, that is the key bit for me. Where do we position the game? For me, get the result, rest the 11. Any players that you expect to play in the North London derby midweek, he's got to not. I don't even want to see players on the bench, like the likes of a Kulusevski on the bench, Basuma on the bench, Madison on the bench. Give these guys a rest. They
to be
played
honest,
a lot of football.
I disagree because we're so good at messing it up. I don't feel comfortable with it on the bench.
No, I know, but let's be. I agree, but even Spurs shouldn't. As I said, there should be no excuses. Doesn't matter if you are. It doesn't matter. Does it? There should be no excuses. Tonks, what's his name? That was the guy. The guy that does the long throw. We've got to stop the long throw in Tonks.
You know what? I'd play Madison as a piss take. He was bitching in the morning earlier. I'd play all kids and Madison.
When was Madison moaning?
Not moaning, but like that. I forgot which game he was taking off early. He was pouting, and I don't know. I wouldn't.
I think Madison gets a bad stick for me. I think he gets a bad.
But I'd play him as one senior player. Maybe I'd play him in the 10th.
You know, I just think we can't pivot on. Oh, well, play if like for example, hear me out. I'll give you an example. If a Madison gets injured, we can't then blame. Oh well, we can't have the excuse. Oh, we've got injuries. If a player like Madison gets injured, like a artificial pitch, 3G pitch, 4G pitch, whatever it is, like my point is we can't be taking risks with players that could get injuries. It's not about results. Should players like that, if a player like that gets injured in a game where you don't necessarily need him, should my point is surely, I stand by it, surely guys, we have enough in our academy that goes, okay, go on. You can sprinkle in the likes of the new goalkeeper, Bergvall, maybe get more minutes for him to playing against more aggressive style players. But surely we've beaten Tamworth. Am I mad for even questioning it?
You know what, Perch? I would. Oh, sorry, Jim. Just one thing. Personally, I think Bergvall at this point, I would take him over Sar in the starting 11, and maybe even over Madison.
Okay.
Just because me, I don't rate Madison as highly as others, so I would like Bergvall and play him against Arsenal. But that's what I would do personally.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Look, guys, I wasn't going really long for this. It was just going to be about an hour. We'll go for a little bit longer. You guys all cool for time?
Yeah, mate, it's up to you.
I'm only, as I said, I was only popping on for a little bit. I'm just transfer window, right? I'm trying not to. We've obviously been linked with the likes of Kolo Muani. I'm hearing the likes of Douglas Luiz are being heavily linked to the club at the moment. Like, what are your guys' thoughts? Look, I'll go to James first. Like Kolo Muani, Douglas Luiz. If we say they were the two that came in, plus obviously the keeper that's already come in, do we need to see more, or do we need to see? What do you think?
So I can only speak for myself, obviously, but I think if you sign two players that come straight into the first team in January, I'm happy with that personally, because I think Muani would be better than Son and Johnson at beating his man and getting to that byline, delivering the ball, creating space for Solanke more than anything else. I think he would actually be really good in that sort of system, in that Ange system. And Douglas Luiz is just a bowler, an absolute bowler. If we could get him in midfield.
Oh, mate, I've heard that Forest are after him as well, by the way.
I heard sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, James.
I heard that Ange actually didn't want Luiz.
If that's true, that's madness. Because for me, Douglas Luiz would be a perfect sort of midfielder for us.
Number 6 sorted.
Yeah, I think he'd be a brilliant midfielder for us. What?
I agree.
What about the
600-800 that we need?
What about Kolo Muani? What are your thoughts on him? For me, I think I think for me, Kolo Muani screams of panic signing. I don't think he's a very, very amazing football player. I think he's an all right player, but nothing makes me go, oh, do you know what? You're a difference maker. Does that make sense?
I agree. Like, the only way I would take him is a loan with no obligation. If it was an option, just bring him in, see what he's got. I've seen a lot of players who have a lot of raw talent, but the mentality isn't there. And what we need at the club is the mentality. So I don't know.
I kind of agree, and I get where you're coming from. I would say there's been 2 Muanis, one at Frankfurt, one and France, and then the other one at PSG. And in fairness, he doesn't play much at PSG. When they signed him, they also signed the likes of Messi, and they all come in. Was it Gomez or something, the striker as well? They signed those guys all at the same time. He just kind of got pushed to the bench. Not making excuses for him because his stats and stuff are shocking. But if we're talking about the only player I can kind of compare him to is somebody like Adama Traore. Always wants to beat his man. Maybe not the greatest end product, but the amount of times he would beat his man in comparison to Son or Johnson, for me, would be it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. For me, though, like, better than Johnson might not be good enough.
No,
right? So
no. But for me, he's guaranteed to be better than Johnson. And if he can refine the Frankfurt form, if he refines didn't he score like 40 GA in that one season for Frankfurt? Like, he was unbelievable, and he was a £100 million player. Don't get me wrong, he can't bat everything onto one season because Timo Werner's also done the same thing. But I've seen more in him than I have any of our wingers, and there is potential. I mean, the worrying thing is that I've never seen Ange get the potential out of a player, but there's potential in there for me to be a good player. But like you said, a loan with an option is perfect. It's a no lose.
For me, I just want to see someone. If someone like a Kolo Muani, I'm not gonna die on the hill with Kolo like that. I don't want him. Like, I just hope that someone like that comes into the squad and goes boom, boom, boom. You're starting. I don't want to see a player like Kolo Muani coming into the squad and then sitting on the bench all season. Like, for me, what is the point of that, right?
And as a profile too, like, I want to see somebody different. Again, I'm sure at this point he's better than Son, better than Johnson, but I want to see a winger who can actually cross the ball. And we just have those inside forwards, and against the low block, we struggle because we don't have any crossers. Profile-wise, I'm not sure if he's the guy. But again, with a loan, with an option to buy, I'd bring him in. But personally, I would want somebody who slots into our starting 11 and say, hey, the right side is yours, the left side is yours. And he's not that guy.
See, for me, his crossing ability isn't the most important thing. If he plays on the right, because he'll have Porro behind him. If he's got the ability to beat his man, and for me, I don't know about you guys, but I find that our biggest weakness is not being able to open the pitch up. We've got all our players that want to play central. It'd be nice to actually have somebody that wants to open up the pitch and play wide and actually allow space for one other player that I think's got the most criticism this season in Madison. Everyone moans that there's too many people in the inside of the middle of the pitch. somebody like him would go wide, whereas Johnson hasn't got the ability to go wide, which then frees up space for Madison and lets him do his work.
But yeah, no, I agree. Big up, Sava. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Look, we're just talking transfers, right? We're linked with Douglas Luiz. We're linked with Kolo Muani. Obviously, we've already brought in a goalkeeper. Look, for me, my feelings is whoever you bring in now, surely they've got to be starting games of football for us, right? There's no point. Is there any point of bringing in a Kolo Muani for the sake of, oh, well, it doesn't matter. He's going to be sat on the bench for the rest of the season. Like, it doesn't really see the point for me.
I agree with what James was saying. Listen, Kolo Muani for me was one of those where I agree everything you said, James. A couple of years ago looked
Albanian brothers.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. He looked really good. Problem is he's gone to PSG and loads of players have gone there over the last few years and not looked that good. I think you've got to ask yourself two questions. One, there's no point, like you said, Perchy, no point bringing on a player on loan that's going to sit on the bench. Absolutely no point. Everyone who comes in's got to go straight into that starting 11. Two, I think that as much as I don't know whether Muwani's worth the squeeze from a permanent point of view, he's better than Son's been this season and he's a better footballer than Brennan Johnson by a million miles. Mm-hmm. I just think it needs something, right, Perch, to freshen it up.
Yeah,
that forward line. Honestly, I don't think I've ever seen a player as bad as Brennan Johnson ever play for Tottenham. Like, he's so, if he's not tapping in, I don't know what he does. He can't pass. He can't cross. He's got no skill. He's got no strength. I don't know what he does as a footballer. So we either play him through the middle or get someone else on the right. So Muani, it's a bit of a gamble, but I mean, Spurs aren't going to splash the cash on someone better, are they? And
no.
All I know is it's better than the signing we made exactly this time last year, right?
Yeah, true. Was it today? Was it this today?
What? I think it was like the 9th, 10th or 11th or something. Like 365 days. He's still here and he's coming on in front of the youth project of Yang and Moore.
That's a good point, right? And for me, he came on yesterday over the likes of Yang and Moore yesterday, who didn't come on, did they? I'm not going mad. They didn't know. They didn't come on yesterday. I think that's the key bit for me is surely now this manager has to start utilizing Yang now coming in. For me, I think Eugene made a good point earlier. The game against Tamworth has to be that front three of Yang, Moore, Lancashire. Otherwise, realistically, there's no excuses to not have those three in the front three against Tamworth. That should be good enough to beat Tamworth. As I say, any 11 that we play should be beating Tamworth. There should be no real excuse, right?
You not think he'll play Werner?
If he plays Werner, then for me, then that is everything wrong with this youth project or everything. What is the point of putting the likes of a Yang, getting this kid in? Look, Kinsky's an example, right? He's the example. He came in 3 days ago today, and he's already played on his debut immediately. Come in, play. Surely that's what you want from signings, right?
Can I play devil's advocate with that though?
There's always going to be one.
The only reason I would say is, and this is no disrespect to them as a nation, Koreans are very, very slight. So for me, I think Mikey Moore has been kicked to death the whole way through his career, whereas this Yang may have had it all nicey, going to come and play a non-league squad. They're gonna be taking lumps out of him. So for me,
how do you roughen up a player though if you don't let him?
But starting would be different to bringing him on. If we're 2-3-0 up, then I'm happy for him to come on. But I think, I don't know who I'd play, but Mikey Moore definitely, Lancashire definitely, and maybe someone that's been in and around it rather than throw him in the deep end, maybe.
Yeah, I just think, and I'll stand by. What is the point of Werner starting? Touch wood. I mean, if we sign him, by the way, at the end of this 18-month loan deal for £8.5 million, which I believe is the figure, if we do sign him, what is going on at this football club. Point one. Point two, but everyone at the start of the window when we re-signed him was he's just going to be sat on the bench, and if you need to bring him on, he's playing games more and more now, and it's like everyone tells me how good Mikey Moore is. Everyone was telling me how great this Yang was when they were watching him in Korea. If he doesn't play them two, what's the point, right?
I think you're being harsh on Werner. I've just looked at and he's played 39 times for Tottenham. Do you know how many times he scored?
Twice.
He averages a goal every 13 games.
Oh, it's hilarious, mate.
We pay him 165 grand a week, and Ange has taken him twice. That's why he'll play at the weekend for me, Perchy. Not because I want him to. That's why he'll play. If you can't, you're paying 165 grand a week. He sits on the bench. Surely you go to Tamworth and you say, "All right, this guy's gonna." I wouldn't, but we all know he's gonna. I would go to Tamworth and play. Like, I want to see Archie Gray in midfield.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
If you have to play Dorrington at centre half, listen. If Dorrington isn't good enough to play centre half against Tamworth, and if Gray isn't good enough to play centre mid against Tamworth, then we've got real issues at the club, right?
Oh, so, yeah.
I would do that, but
who
knows? Who knows?
Is it a question that they're not good enough, or is it the question that Ange ain't got the bottle to do it? Because I said the other day on Stell's channel that, let's be honest, if I was Reguilon or Spence, I wouldn't be playing for Tottenham now. I would have quit if this was my job. And he said to Spence, "No, I'm going to sign you a new deal. You're part of my plans. Blah blah blah. Oh yeah, by the way, you're not in Europe." I would be like, hold on a minute. Reguilon not slagged him off, dropped him from every game possible. Never been in a squad. Then getting an injury to a doggy and goes, "Oh, here you go. Here's another slot. Can you help me out here now, mate?" For me,
and how badly he's treated Spence, James. He's done the like. I'm seeing loads of things fly around the internet going, really like how Ange is bringing on Spence, getting the best out of him. And I'm like, hang on.
Yeah.
This is the guy that dropped Spence from a Europa League squad, leaving us with no defenders, and is only playing him out. He's playing him out of position on the left because we've got injuries. Like, honestly, short memories, very, very short memories of what's happened.
So that's my point. That is why I don't think they're not good enough. I just think he hasn't got the bottle to say, you know what, you're in. Show me what you can do. I don't think he's got the mentality or the bottle to do that.
I agree. I look at it and go, it's funny, isn't it, now? Because everyone at the start of this was going, how great. It's funny how I love how much everyone has pivoted in 2 days, by the way. I think it's amazing. We've gone from we've got a shit squad to, I like our squad players. It's mental.
Perchy, don't. I honestly, when people come on and try and banter me in my comment section after we win a game, I'm literally like, do you know, I haven't got the time, and it would take me hours and hours to go through this. I want to go back and look at every comment they said for the game we lost. Because when we win, right, Ange masterclass, oh my God, Bergval's brilliant, Gray's great, Spence is superb, Dragusin was great, it's great. When we lose, he hasn't got any players. These youngsters aren't ready. Right, hang on. In the space of 4 days from Newcastle to Liverpool, right, with the same squad available, with less squad available because of Sarr and Madison missing. We've gone from, but this to, oh my God, we're brilliant. And listen, don't get me wrong, chaps. Great win yesterday. None of us can take away. It was a great win. I think it was, don't get me wrong, I thought it was a terrible game of football. From a neutral point of view, I thought both teams were well below par, but a great game to win in terms of getting over the line, digging in, battling, and taking something to Anfield. But again, I use this word, Perchy, all the time. You know I do. This revisionism
it's
madness. Like, everyone, you're in the mud. You're in the mud. Hang on. That was our first win in 5 games. Like, most fan bases would go, we've won. Like, we've won. We've won. Our fan base goes, we've won. Oh, my God. I've seen a post from people going, the summer window could be one of the best windows we've ever had with Solanke, Bergvall, Gray. You're like, hang on, last week you said we lost because we had a terrible guys, why can't we ever as a fan base say, really good win, really much well needed. Now let's go and win the next 3, 4, 5 in a row and actually put some consistency and a run together. Nope. One game and Ange is great. This is amazing. And the last thing I'll say before I hand back to you, Perchy, in box office style, right? Isn't it amazing how everyone's going Ange ball. When we don't actually play Ange ball, right, we look better. And then you've got people coming in the chat afterwards going, that's Ange ball. No, hang on. That's not Ange ball. Ange ball is the gung-ho stuff that we've been seeing. This was normal football tactics where you're playing against a good team and they make you sit back. I don't understand this fan base. I don't understand our standards.
And you know my great line I love. If you basically change your opinion so much, you will never be wrong. So today, our squad is amazing. They beat high-flying Liverpool with all of our injuries. Exactly the same people were saying 2 days ago, well, Daniel Levy, you're the reason why we're struggling to win games. And I find it mad, right? Like, because I say this all the time. It's incredible because I'm so balanced with it. I said, everyone brings up Daniel Levy. I said, I try and have this conversation. I say, if you're going to bring up Daniel Levy, I'm out of the conversation because it's pointless. It's a pointless conversation, right? I hear it all the time. Because what it is what I've noticed. When we lose games of football, it's Daniel Levy hasn't built us a good enough squad. When we win games, Ange is an absolute sensation. Everyone in my comments is going, I love that. Congrats to Ange. Congratulations, Ange. What? He is a paid employee. And as I say, I said at the top of the show, if he wins us a Carabao Cup, in good faith, I can't sit there and go, I want him gone because he won us a trophy. I stand by that metric. I said, if this guy wins us a trophy, then for me, that is the metric on what I succeed as success. Give him a chance to go further on. But what I find amazing is, and James, I'll bring you lads back into it, was I hear this about, I'm hearing if he wins us a cup, we've still got to go to Anfield. People have forgotten it. It's like people thought we've already won the game and we're playing Newcastle in a final. They've still got to play Arsenal in another leg. And look, I think they beat Arsenal over 2 in the second leg. They'll null them out and it will be I think Newcastle will get to the final. I can't sit there in good faith go, well, I think Spurs are 100% getting there. James, do you know the last time we won at Anfield?
Oh, yeah, it was a long time ago.
2012.
Yeah.
12 years ago was the last time we won at Anfield. Doesn't that make you think, hang on? And the thing is the problem what we've got is we can't, 1-0 is a fine line. They could score early and it's equal again. Game on, isn't it? Right? And Sava, I'll bring you into it as well. I think people at the moment have gone way over the top with it. Yeah, good result, but let's get to the final before we start talking about winning the trophy, right?
But like what you're saying there, where you're saying people are now saying, Ange this, now, like Ange has got a good squad, fine end of the season, blah 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 blah. But for me, these people that have come in, I'm actually happy with those. I'm happy with the people that have stepped in. Like we said earlier, I mean, if I pick the top 5 worst players in our squad, I would say the last 10 games, Son, Johnson, Sarr, Bentancur, and probably Basuma. Not one of those are players that shouldn't be on that pitch. They should all so-called first starters, and they're all been crap. I've been impressed with what I've seen from Gray, considering he's not a centre-back. Dragishin, shaky. Spence, fine. Porro, tired, but fine. All these players that come in, Bergvall looks okay. It's the players, the so-called senior players, that for me are letting Tottenham down. It's not the people coming in.
Absolutely bang on, mate. This is where listen. I understand that a lot of people just want to look like they're better fans than other people, but it's as though they've forgotten what they've said the week before. And James,
it's not even the week, days before. It's not. It's like 48 hours before.
Hours before the game to after the game. But
yeah.
James is absolutely nail on the head. I would understand this injury excuse. I would understand if like he said, if it was Gray, Spence, Dragusin, Forster, Kinsky, Austin, if it was all of these players letting us down, you turn around and go, yeah, you're right. But this whole time, like James said, the worst players have been the senior pros. Yeah. So I keep hearing, oh, what other club would do well with their defence out? I don't think per se our actual defence has been the problem. I think the tactics have been the problem.
Yeah.
I think it's, listen, Basuma yesterday, outstanding. Basuma last week, nowhere to be seen. Mm-hmm. You could now change the word Basuma for any one of our midfielders, and that's what you've got. Inconsistent. Kulusevski, I think he's being way overhyped. Last 3 or 4 games, I'm watching Kulu and going, can you stop giving it away? Like you.
Yeah. I thought we had an awful game yesterday.
I thought it was terrible against Newcastle. I thought it was terrible yesterday. But again, if he's tired, then all the time that I think somebody said it when I was waiting backstage. Someone said, yeah, well, James Madison's the one that's used as the scapegoat, right?
Yeah.
We're saying Kulu, like, I heard Eugene say, like, Madison, Madison's got our most goal contributions and has played less than all the other forwards. Like, what does that tell you? Is it Madison or is it actually yesterday, Madison would have thrived in that space.
Yeah.
He would have thrived because we didn't do the inverted wing backs. But I think now all of a sudden he should. I don't know. I think we're a funny old fan base.
No, but I think the one player for me that is now becoming the next scapegoat. By the way, scapegoat is Radu Dragusin, because he has a bad game and everyone goes, see, he's crap. And I sit there and I'll say, well, hang on a minute. This isn't a centre half that is a natural ball player. He's your no-nonsense centre half where the ball comes in and he'll deal with it with his head. And I thought yesterday, when we didn't have him having to play it out the back like we've always done, he looked composed. I thought him and Archie Gray yesterday looked really, really good. And everyone moans about Dragusin. I sit there and go, well, hang on a minute. This is a bloke that actually, statistically, by the way, he has won more games than any other centre-half this season. Statistically, he has won more games than any other centre-half. And I look at it and go, for me, yesterday, I thought we had a really, really good game. I thought that goal line clearance, by the way, was brilliant. It was him, wasn't it? I'm right in saying that goal line clearance was, yeah. And I watched him and I go, play players that are suitable. For example, when we played like that today, you went, do you know what? We don't have the likes of a Romero, Van de Ven. So you don't need to play it out. Like, you don't need to play it out the back like that. Play to what you've got. So cool, we've got this back four. Cool. Let's sit in it. Let's grind it out and get a result. And for me, as I said, Spence, another good example. I'm hearing now, what I hear all the time and what really starts to rattle me, and I'll bring you guys both into it again, was when I hear about, oh, well, Spence should start over Udogie or Udogie's still better than, and I go, hang on, surely utilise your squad when they're all fit. So one game you go, Udogie, you're not playing today because we need Jed Spence to sit in here because he's a better defensive player. But now next week we're playing Southampton. You're going to be needed to go down the other end. Why can't we use our squad when we got it? This notion that when we've got our 11 back, everything will be great. Hang on. Why can't we just use the squad collectively, bring the right players in at the right times, depending on who you play, and maybe we won't have so many injuries?
What's our best wins this season?
The 2 games against Man City, Liverpool yesterday, Man United, Villa.
Right. 4 of those 5 games, 4 of those 5 games has been without the so-called best back 4. Right.
Yeah.
So when we sit there and go, what would you do without these players out? Well, we beat Man City twice without them.
Yep.
Right. We beat Liverpool without them. We beat Man United in the cup without them. We beat Villa with, I think one of them was out against Villa. You know, when you look at it and you go, hang on, do people actually do their research before they say these things? Because Dragostin, if I'm not wrong, has played in every one of those apart from the United at Old Trafford. And by the way, that United at Old Trafford were the United that got Ten Hag sacked. So you look at the 2 Man City games, the Aston Villa game, the Man U in the cup game, and Liverpool yesterday. Radu Dragostin's played in all 5 of those great wins that people want to tell me, oh my God, look how good we are, this is what we could be. But yet Radu Dragostin's always the scapegoat. Radu Dragostin's not good. Well, hang on. Hang on. Before the players were injured with Van de Ven and Romero, we didn't beat Leicester, lost to Arsenal, lost to Newcastle. Was it Ipswich? Palace? I think against Ipswich,
Brighton.
one of them played.
Brighton.
Palace.
Dragostin played against Ipswich.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like the majority of
course,
when we're talking about Van de Ven and Romero, again, sorry for this word, it is revisionism. It is people going, we're brilliant when they're back, but we're not. The stats show with Van de Ven and Romero, without Van de Ven and Romero, wasn't it something like Perchy, like 43% versus 44% win rate?
Really close.
It was,
but isn't it like what we've been saying the whole time? Square pegs and square holes and circles in circles. Because for me, Dragostin and Gray Gray looks good on the ball. Dragostin really doesn't. But when he's got the ability to turn and play it back to that keeper, and that keeper goes, "Don't worry, I'll find that 40-yard pass for you. Give me the ball." Dragostin automatically thinks, you know what? I don't matter now. I haven't got to do that responsibility. That's not what I'm good at. I'm going to keep the ball out of the net. Keeper, you feel like you want to do that? Crack on, take the ball. You play those passes. So for me, you've got a defensive defender. I'd almost put Mickey van der Ven in there. I don't think he's a ball-playing centre-back as such. So I think something like Dragostin and him with that keeper behind, that could be perfect. Because if they're both saying, I don't want the ball, I can't play that ball, you do it, it just opens up space. It's more comfortable.
I agree. And before I say, big up Mum Spaghetti, by the way, won $4,000, by the way, against in the he bet Newcastle to beat Arsenal 2-0 and out Anthony Gordon to score. He put 40 quid on and won $4,000 or something stupid.
Wow.
I was like, fair play. So big up to you, my friend. So it was ridiculous. I remember I saw him going absolutely like quaking in his boots in the stream the other day. So big up to you, man.
Can I ask you a question, Perchy?
Yeah.
Just quickly, why is Madison constantly a scapegoat? Why is it that no matter how bad Kulu plays, no one talks about it? No matter how bad Son plays, he'll be defended till the end of the earth. But James Madison's inconsistent. You show me a player in that team that isn't inconsistent.
I can answer that. The hardest thing in football is the vision, the bit before the pass. So I think we said it on your stream after Fulham. If you actually watch him get the ball, he takes a touch, turns, looks, no one's made that run. So immediately the attack finishes with Madison. It starts with Madison, finishes with Madison. It's not necessarily Madison's fault. Again, this is another thing I think that Kulu Muani could be good. If he stays wide and he just runs in behind, that opens up the game for That is Madison's dream. Someone like Son 4 years ago, Madison will find him week in, week out.
I agree. If you put James Madison in this Newcastle setup, right? If you put James Madison in this Brighton setup, teams that don't go all crazy with their tactics, I truly believe. And by the way, he's still got the most goal contributions for our team this season.
I agree.
It's madness.
I agree. I just genuinely think that Madison is scapegoated because the problem is the fans don't want to scapegoat Kulusevski. He's the flavour of the month, not in a bad way. I think he's had a good season, but if you sit there and criticise Dejan Kulusevski at the moment, you get castrated.
I think
you're not allowed. I think he's one of those. He'll have an amazing game and then have a really, really meh game. Like, it's literally like that. Anything about
Perchy, better than Ginola, people were telling me yesterday on my stream.
Don't.
Like that
Really,
guy,
no one said that.
icon.
No one's they don't mean it in this is the don't. Yeah, I'm not going to comment on that. Don't.
Yeah,
I mean, today I've seen Bergvall putting in a Steven Gerrard like thing. You know when you think, how do we see one game? Like let's be fair, the Kinsky conversation. Kinsky had a good game, right? But I feel like people are making it out as though the man made 94 saves. I mean, listen, young guy, good debut, clean sheet, did well, good range of passing. Straight away, we've now gone, what a generational kid. Stop. Like, let's at least see him play 10 games. Like, we are so knee-jerk. It is unreal.
But there's a part of me now that thinks that it's done for different reasons now that people are saying it. It can't be. Nobody sits there and goes, Kulu's better. That Kulu's on the same level as Ginola. But it's almost like it's done as an attention-seeking thing. I'll put it up on Twitter or X or whatever and say, Bergvall is as good as Steven Gerrard performance, whatever. Because people go, well, you're talking absolute nonsense. Did you watch Steven? Like, for me, when you see stuff like no one talks honestly with it, I see all this stuff immediately, like clockwork yesterday. The videos come up about Spurs' youth project is sensational. Kinsky, world wonder kid. Like, these words just get banded out. Like,
I'm not going to lie. Spurs youth is scary or whatever. You know, when you're like, hang
it's
on,
mental.
You've been watching us all. Can I just say, my best mate this morning, I woke up to a WhatsApp from my best mate and it said, Sav, good win for your boys last night. He went, but F me, your fans are on another level of delusion. And he sent me a snapshot of about 15 things he'd seen on like X and Instagram and that. Honestly, you would think Spurs have won 15 games in a row, had just won the Champions League. We go from, he said to me, your fans go from 0 to 100 in 90 minutes.
Mental, innit?
We go from shit squad, shit manager to we are amazing. And you know what? Like somebody put today, Archie Gray. Now, don't get me wrong, I thought Archie Gray played well. Archie Gray should be the first name on the team sheet. You know, whoa, hang on. Like, slow down. This is a kid that at the moment isn't even playing in his position. Let's, you know,
it doesn't help as well. It doesn't help because on Sky Sports, they're going future Spurs captain. The commentators are saying, Archie Gray, future Spurs captain. I'm sitting there going, it's like you're enabling this behavior. So now fans are listening to that, and then people start going, well, there you go, because one of the commentators said he's a future Spurs captain. It's like, hang on a minute. He had a good game. Let's give him that one.
If we put it into context, and bear in mind, David Ginola is the reason I am a Spurs fan. Anybody who watched David Ginola know he was the most one-footed player ever.
Who?
But Ginola. But his right foot had more technique in his right foot than Kulu's left foot. But for me, his right foot was never as good. He was never on his right. His left foot was so good. It was always in on my left foot and finish.
James, David Ginola would go to both flanks and take corners with either foot. David Ginola could whip a ball in right-footed, left-footed. David Ginola.
But how many times did he do that?
Both feet, mate.
How many times did he? I'm more saying like, as in, his right foot is better than any of these people that we're saying in today's era. For me, not even like people saying Kulu. Kulu's left foot is half the foot of Ginola's right foot. There's levels.
I get that point, but yeah,
there's absolutely. I'm more saying his left. He was if he could have taken on his left foot, he was just mustard. He didn't need to use his right foot. But for me, when people say Kulu is better than David Ginola, it's like, hold on a minute. If you're picking his weak foot, there's levels to this. It's like saying Ronaldinho and fucking Brennan Johnson to me. That's what you've basically just said to me. It makes no sense.
You know the difference between the two players, Ginola and Kulu?
One's good, one's average.
Everything is the difference. I never, like, listen, don't get me wrong, Kulu's a decent footballer. He's a decent footballer. For me, he's given the ball away the second amount of times of any player in the Premier League this
Yeah.
season. That tells
I
you a
didn't know
lot.
that. I didn't know that.
Top players, yeah. I mean, if you go on to Premier League stats
Yeah,
and
Premier
look
League,
at dispossessed or lost possession, whatever, he's second, right? Now,
Wow.
top players, let's be fair, top players, Premier League, if you look at a few from the last few years, Fabregas, David Silva, right? Bernardo Silva. These people don't give the ball away.
Rodri,
like, you know, sometimes when they give the ball away and commentators go, oh, there's a collector's item.
Yeah.
Kulu gives the ball away so much, but no fan brings it up. We just go, Kulu's brilliant. Well, he is, but he gave the ball away 19 times in that half. Now, for me, if top clubs are looking at that, they're going, right, he's good, but he's got to stop. He's got to stop that. And a lot of the times, have you noticed that Kulu, by the way, I think Kulu's a good player before anyone has a go at me. A lot of the times he takes the ball, but he sometimes he's trying to take the ball in his stride and he forgets the ball, if that makes sense. Like it feels like it's behind him, or I think he's good, but being blown way out of proportion to how good he actually is, if we're honest.
Mate, Porro put about 3 balls into him yesterday, and he just had to touch it in his stride, and he was one-on-one with a keeper. And he touched it behind him, but he did that 3 or 4 times where he just miscontrolled the ball. Whereas one good touch, I was speaking to my brothers and our Liverpool fans, and he said, we're so lucky you do not have a Harry Kane there, because that sort of ball in, Harry Kane takes that touch and finishes. And there's the difference with him and Kulu. He can't even get the touch right before the finish. So for me, he's a workhorse. He's the guy. I said it when people said he's number 10. I said no. For me, he'd be a number 8. Let him do all that dogged work. He's far better on the ball than Sarr. And then you have your number 10 like a Madison that doesn't have to do as much work.
I want him. I'll be honest. I don't think he's a winger. I want him back out there. If I'm brutally honest, I truly believe you find a way to get him and Madison in, but without clogging each other's space. If you've got Brennan Johnson out on the right, who doesn't beat a man, hasn't got any skill and can't cross, and he cuts inside, surely you'd rather have Kulu being the guy that cuts inside and come and join in than Brennan Johnson, right?
I agree. Guys, I've got to wrap it up shortly. I'll do it in a minute. If there's any other, because I've got to run and go and have dinner. I know James has already demolished his dinner after he ran home. James gets his dinner left on his table when he turns up back from work, by the way.
Hang on, what time do you eat dinner, James?
He had dinner an hour ago.
Yeah. 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
Yeah. Why is that not normal?
Isn't that? I mean, it just, for me, I'm going, I'll have dinner about 7:30. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I've got 2 young children, so their bedtime's 8 o'clock.
A brag, or what are we?
no, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, for us, we eat at 5 together, and then everyone sort of has baths and stuff, and then it's sort of like bedtime for or TV time at 7. So
fair play. Look, guys, I've had a really good chat. Let's do a bit of a score prediction. What's the score prediction going to be against Tamworth? Why not? Let's go. Go on, James.
5-0. No. 5-1. 5-1.
5-1. Yeah.
And we'll go 1-0 down as well.
Probably. Everyone in the chat, whack it in the chat as well. Sam, what do you think?
3-3.
Does it go to wait?
No.
Does it go to wait? I'm not saying but does it go to
the one caveat I'll give it? If we put out our first team, I think you're looking at 5-6-0. If you put out more Lancashire, Dorrington, I don't know if you will. If they get put out,
8-0.
It will be tougher, right? Because what they're gonna be well up for it. Artificial pitch. They're gonna try and get as many set pieces as they can. They're gonna try and get as many long throws for Tonks, who is a long throw specialist. But let's be brutally honest, we should be.
Whatever I don't team that we put out.
80 minutes gone going, oh my God, we're going to have to bring Kulu and Solanke off the bench to win this game. We can't be that.
No,
it can't be.
To be fair, for me, it's one of those, I think you've got to go and rotate enough where you give players that haven't played a lot of football, like the Dorringtons, there should be any excuse that an Alfie Dorrington doesn't start, by the way. Like, I hear all this about he's had an injury and he's had a surgery. Surely he's got to start games of football if we want to develop this young man. But yeah, I think we will concede. I think we'll finish. It'll finish 3 or 4. I think it'll be 4 or 5-1, something like that. But my point is it will. The one thing I've always said about it, By the way, I don't think we lose. And before anyone thinks that, I think we will comfortably beat them. But the worry thing for me is this. The one big worry for me is this. If I was the Tamworth manager, I'd be sitting in there going, rough them up a bit, sit in, don't make it easy, and make them have shots from out there. They don't like playing against teams that sit in low. They'll play high, and you'll have an opportunity on the counter attack. And imagine the amount of bodies, by the way, are going to be around the goalkeeper when Tonks has got the ball on the edge. You'll have about their whole 11. You'll have their goalkeeper charging up just to cover the other goalkeeper. It would just be chaos. But look, I think we'll win.
The perfect game for him to learn in, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the question. That was the last question. Austin or Kinsky in goal?
Kinsky. Keep him in.
You've got
to keep him in there.
I agree. I think if he drops him for Austin, for me, Austin clearly has proven that this kid is not. He's literally living on the fact that he was trained at the club. No disrespect, but that is the reason. And for me, I think Kinsky is now the closest to challenging Vicario than we've seen in a long time for a number 2 and a number 1. I think if he can,
let's see how good he is. Let's see how good he is. Is he someone who's had a good debut, or is that how he plays every game? I'm not knocking him. I want to see him have 5. I want to see him playing some games as well when he's going to get roughed up a bit. I want to see him play against different centre forwards to the likes of Salah, Diaz, and Gakpo. But like Chris Wood, I want to see Chris Wood's clattering into him. Perchy, I've got to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up now anyway. But yeah, take care. I'm literally about to wrap up. So guys,
thank you, mate. Take care.
Bye. Guys, as I said, just going to wrap up. Thank you. The redirects on to, I think I've sent it over to Lee Gunner, so I think he's live. So go and spread the love over to Lee. Say Perchy Raid in the chat. I think he's about to have a rant about Arsenal. It's funny. It's nice to watch. Guys, thank you so much. It was a bit of a random one. James, thanks for coming on. Thanks for Sava. Eugene as well. Mate, guys, thank you so much. Come on, you Spurs, and enjoy your evening. Peace and out. Bye-bye.